A wonderful day, is it? Hello, everyone. How are we? We've already got a comment. Who's in there? It's Mecha Godzilla. Hello, Connor. How are you, sir? Shouldn't you be catching up on all those Godzilla DVDs you've just bought? Got lots of watching to do there, sir. Hello. Yeah, I had a question in one of my videos. I think it was last night or this morning, and I wanted to answer the chap, and there's no way that I could have answered him in a reply. The question, I've no way of knowing yet how to add images to my live stream, so I've uploaded this as an image to Facebook so that I can present the Facebook screen to you. And make sure I've got the right one on. I have, yes, there we are. There. So that's the question that I was asked. Hey, I live in the United States and I've never seen Doctor Who, except from a few pieces of shows here and there. I can learn about it from Wikipedia, but I want to know about it from a fan's point of view. Good point, is that? Good point. Which Doctor is the best to watch for fun? I know there have been many of them. Who is the most fun villain? Is the feel of the show like Star Trek? Is there anything else notable about the show? Well, there's an awful lot that's notable about the show. It's an adventure show mostly. I'm just putting a bit of background music on because I realise how dull and boring it can be without. There we go. Connor thinks that Doctor Who is great, but he's not an expert. No, he's a Godzilla expert, a Gamma expert, and an expert on Ultraman. That's what this guy's an expert on. Yeah, it's one of those things. If I'd have started replying to this, I would have been typing for hours and wouldn't have been able to. Still wouldn't have been able to say everything that I wanted to say. And I dare say that everything's going to come out a little bit sporadic as well. Well, it says 60, however many years? What, 60th anniversary this year, isn't it? It's a 60-year-old show, so it's a show with 60 years worth of history. How do you boil that down to a nutshell? It was off the air for a few years, so I suppose that knocks a little bit of time off for it. Where do we start? Okay, then. If you were going to jump in, as much as it's not my thing, I'd probably recommend the modern series from 2005 is probably the easiest jumping on point. The first episode's called Rose. It's got great pacing. It doesn't expect you to know anything about the 42 years of history the show had already had at that point. That's probably the easiest place to jump into, and it is fun. That Doctor only lasts for one season, 12 episodes, 13 episodes, I think it is. So you're jumping into David Tennant then, which I think general consensus would be that David Tennant is probably the most fun Doctor. So you get 3 seasons of him after that. Well, 2 seasons and a year's worth of specials. Obviously, he's just about to return as well, which I dare say that this will be a decent jumping on point when it starts as well. Is it? It's in a month's time, isn't it? Is it next month after? I'm really not following the modern Doctor Who stuff, so I'm not 100% certain. Jumpy, hello there, sir. How are you? Stream surfing tonight. Why, is there a few streams going on that you're following? Brilliant. The 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, and the movie Doctor, Peter Cushing, are probably my favourites. You know, I was going to bring up Peter Cushing's movie Doctor as well at some point. I would probably say I would go at series. They're relatively short series. Every series has been, I think there've been 12 episodes plus a Christmas special for every series. There's been a couple of years where we haven't had a series, so there's not, even though we're on what, series 13? I think it's 13 or 14 I think we're about to go into now. There's not loads of material to jump into there. You can just dive into that and have fun with it. I mean, that seems to be one of the biggest points of your question there, Destructor. Is what's the best to watch for fun? And then maybe after that, try the two 60s movies, because it was the first time the Doctor Who was in colour. It takes the first two Dalek stories, which were, I think, 7 and 6 episodes long each. And those episodes are like 22.5 minutes. So you've got 3.5 hours worth of story in each of those stories. And they get condensed down to just over an hour long each in a film. So it cuts out a lot of the treading water areas. It had a bigger budget because it was made for the big screen. The Daleks look absolutely fantastic in that. But you do have to remember that they're not part of the actual continuity. They take the first two Dalek stories and adapt those for the big screen. And in those, the Doctor is human. He's just a scientific inventor, and he's invented the TARDIS. The actual main show, what I call the classic series, that started in '63 and ran all the way through to 1989. Hard to tell you a jumping on point with that. When the BBC released them on VHS, which is how I got to see them, they released them per story. So every series of Doctor Who, because it was a series back then, they weren't seasons. Some people call them seasons now, but they weren't seasons, they were series. It would run out of the 52 years in a week, it would run for 45 weeks. And it was broken down into stories. Those stories mostly were 4-part adventures. So 4 episodes would be one story, or 6 parts. 6 parts would make up one story. But then you get a couple of longer ones, a couple of shorter ones. But they were good because Doctor's in the TARDIS. TARDIS lands on a planet or in a certain time, and he gets into an adventure with his companions, and then when the TARDIS takes off, that's the end of that story. If you go by that, you can literally just pick a story and go with it. You don't necessarily have to watch from 1963 all the way through to 1989. I've done that several times now. It's a massive undertaking. It really, really is. It can feel like a slog as well, because as much as I will hear no bad word against that classic series of Doctor Who, I will admit that not everything in it was amazing. Not everything was fantastic. And some of the best stories do kind of rely on you having some knowledge of what's gone before, so I can't even say just go straight into that. A lot of people would recommend just watch Genesis of the Daleks. It's the 4th Doctor. He's widely considered to be the best Doctor. Is usually voted the best Doctor of the classic series. And that's probably because he ran for the longest time. He did 6 years. Most of the Doctors did 3. He did 6, so he's usually your favourite Doctor is the one you grew up with. More people grew up with him because he was on the screen for longer. And it's a damn good story, is Genesis of the Daleks, but you'll find that you might need to know more about what's happened with the Daleks beforehand, before you get to that. Why they're such a threat? I mean, I'm fairly sure you can imagine why the Daleks are such a threat. They go around exterminating everyone or enslaving you if you're lucky. Connor says, the Daleks is those films looked perfect, yet pushing them into a wall was their biggest weakness. I wasn't necessarily pushing them into a wall. It was pushing them into the electrical monitors, control units, whatever. That's what caused the explosions in that. But that makes exactly. Connor shares a love with me for the classic. The classic's becoming a very heavily used word this evening. For the old 60s, 70s, and then later the 80s Godzilla films. And he also has a great love, I believe, for the Jerry Anderson stuff. And I think that there's a crossover when it comes to Doctor Who. It's all made on a very tight budget. It's all made with a lot of love and passion. And even though the special effects might not look good, they don't look good. You can see what the directors, what the filmmakers, what the showrunners wanted you to see. You can see their ambition in both Godzilla and Doctor Who. There's a crossover there. There is a crossover. Sometimes you get these low-budget sci-fi series and shows and films, and it's just that director wants to have a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. That wasn't always the case with these. There was a deep passion there. They really wanted to tell you a good story, and that's what I always got from Doctor Who. The only thing that would put me off thinking that you might not like them, Destructor, is you mentioned a couple of times fun. And Doctor Who is not necessarily fun all of the time. It's got some very dark moments. It's due to a story lasting over 4 weeks or 6 weeks, 7 or 8 sometimes. The story can be quite stretched and dragged out. So the pacing is very, very slow. You mentioned Star Trek. Star Trek, obviously, most episodes are 45 minutes long. Start, beginning, start that again. You get a beginning, a middle, and an end in that 45 minutes. You're talking double that length for a Doctor Who story, and then a cliffhanger. 3 cliffhangers in each one of them as a minimum. Yeah, just love low budget type things for some reason. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, it doesn't feel like Star Trek at all. I mean, although the Doctor has between 1 and 3 companions, depending what series you watch, it's very, very much a one-man led show with supporting characters. You can make an argument that the companions are main characters, that the Doctor is the character. He's the lead. He's taking you on a journey, and the companions are going with him. They're supporting characters. Star Trek isn't that at all, and it never was. Star Trek is an ensemble. So it's very different to Star Trek. It will frequently tell very similar stories, and it'll come at them from the same angle a lot of the time. But it's a very, very different ball game. It's baseball to football. It's two very different things. Is there anything else notable about the show? It's longevity. It's hung around for a very, very long time. How it's still with us at the moment is quite beyond me. Considering the last few years, it's suffered the same that a lot of current media has done, including Star Trek. I would say that Star Trek has suffered quite a lot the last few years. I don't think people are singing the praises of Discovery the way that people sung the praises of Deep Space Nine or Voyager at the time. Maybe we'll be proven wrong in several years' time if people say that think it was. Look back on it fondly, shall we say? I don't think people will. I could be wrong. I do remember a few people complaining at the time of Voyager starting out, "Oh, it's a woman in charge," but they were very, very small voices. And by the end of that first series, they silenced themselves. Because Janeway certainly proved herself. She had more balls than any of the male captain, didn't she? So yeah, I don't know. There's so many stories to jump on with. I have a customer, and he prides himself on getting his girlfriend hooked on Doctor Who, on the classic series of Doctor Who, by getting her to watch The Caves of Androzani, which is actually the last story featuring the Fifth Doctor. So it's 1983? 83, 84? 83. 84. I'm going to double check this. Caves of Androzani. 1984, March. Yes. There we go. I thought so. Yeah. I was there or thereabouts. It was there or thereabouts. So yeah, Caves of Androzani, he put that on for his girlfriend, and she developed a love for the show. It hooked her from that one. That is not an episode or a story that I would have ever considered putting on first. But there you have it. It worked for him. Earthshock is a fantastic story again. The Fifth Doctor, has a tragic ending. So much so that it's the only episode in the show's history that has no music on the end credits of the final episode. There's... I've mentioned Genesis of the Daleks. I still think that jumping in with the 2005 Series 1 is probably the best way to start, and then just cherry pick certain stories that might grab your attention. If you've got an interest in Roman history, the Roman Empire, then maybe the Romans would be a good story for you. It's that's a 4-part First Doctor story. If you've got an interest, I was going to say if you have an interest in Atlantis, then maybe the time. No, don't watch that one straight away. Fun villains. Well, obviously the Daleks can't go without being mentioned. Excuse me. They've been with the show since the beginning. They were the second story. So when they first appeared in December of '63. You can't talk about Doctor Who and not talk about the Daleks. Obviously, there's the Cybermen. If you like Star Trek, you will see how they ripped off the Borg are a rip-off of the Cybermen, very much so. Other Ice Warriors, I probably wouldn't recommend. They're one of those iconic monsters for from Doctor Who, but their earlier stories are, well, I think they're 6 episodes long. I mean, the problem with the earlier Doctor Who stuff is a lot of the episodes are missing. They were the film was destroyed back in the 70s for space reasons. They were never expected to be reshown on TV, and obviously home video wasn't a thing. It just didn't exist, so nobody knew that there was going to be able to reuse them at any point. So a lot of those early stories are missing, or episodes of the stories are missing, and the first appearance of the Ice Warriors has got several missing episodes. I do believe they've been animated now. Maybe the animations might be a way for you to go, actually. Some of those animated stories, because they they're designed to look like they would have done back then, but I think they're also a little bit more approachable for a new audience, maybe. So maybe that would be a good one. But again, a 6-part serial is probably not one to jump in on, because they are quite slow and they tread water quite a lot and they repeat themselves quite a lot. You'll frequently have a companion gets kidnapped and held hostage, and someone will rescue her and save her, and then 2 episodes later that companion is kidnapped again and held hostage, and the Doctor has to rescue her. And it's like, well, how many times can the same companion be kidnapped within the same story? It does happen in some of them, especially when they're longer, more episodes per story. So your 6 and 7 parters, that can happen. The Master, the early days of the Master, there's a lot of fun there, just in seeing how he and the Doctor interact. They are very much 2 sides of the same coin. They are Batman and Joker. They are Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty. They are Bond and Blofeld. They are delicious together. So that would be the 3rd Doctor and the Master. John Pertwee and Roger Delgado. Roger Delgado was an absolutely fantastic actor, and he played that part beautifully. Tragedy there is the fact that he was going to come back and do one more story as the Master, and the Master would be killed off in that story. But before he got a chance to come back and do it, he died. I believe it was in a car accident in... was it Spain? I don't think it really matters, to be fair. One of those little tidbit facts that I used to know, and now it's gone. Turkey. Died on location in Turkey. I think it was a car accident. Yet it went off the road into a ravine, and he was only 55 years old at the time. He never got to do his final scene. But then they bring the Master back later, and obviously because he's a Time Lord, he can regenerate, and we get different versions of different reincarnations of the Master. Although at the time we meet him, he supposedly used up all of his incarnations, his regenerations. That's a good one to watch. Like I said, the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Master, the Sontarans can be quite fun. Particularly, for me, the first story, which is the Time Warrior. That's quite a fun one. Definitely. Potato heads. If anyone wants to chip in as well in the chat with what they think, or with story ideas that they think could be a good one for someone to watch for the first time or for fun. And another one that people tend to see as fun, which is unusual for an early story, is The Chase. Because it literally is just that. It's a chase through time. The Daleks have developed the ability to time travel, and they're chasing the Doctor, their greatest enemy, through time and space. And they land in many different locales, and some strange scenarios ensue. They land in a haunted house at one point, which turns out it's an amusements place. And the Doctor, the companions, and the Daleks face off against Dracula, Frankenstein, and things like that. There's a scene at the top of the Empire State Building. They go to different planets. you meet the mechanoids for the one and only time in Doctor Who. So yeah, that one might be fun, which is strange because I think that's a 6-parter. I'm fairly sure it's a 6-parter. Is that one? What else would be considered fun? It's a strange one because it's. Although it would have definitely been considered fun back in the day, I don't know if people would consider it that way now. And most of the Doctor Who stories, I don't watch too many of myself now because I've seen them that many times. It's just like watching something for the 6th or 7th time now. There's certain stories that I don't watch again because some of them are pretty poor. So avoid things like the Underworld and the Sunmakers. They're terrible. The Horns of Naiman wasn't very good either. This is one of my council members, Ed. Enjoy your live stream, G. Sorry I can't be there, but I'm a guest on a live stream myself. So, oh, have fun then. Have fun. I'll try and catch up that with myself tomorrow. I'll put it on while I'm at work. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know as much as I've got 1,000 things to say about Doctor Who. I'm not sure how to actually answer that question. The most fun villains. Is there anything else notable about the show? Well, it was originally set up to be a kind of educational show at the time. It was supposed to be a family drama show, and it was supposed to educate children on things throughout history. Obviously, they went into space as well, and there was a lot of adventure involved. But yeah, I think you were always supposed to be the companion. You're the one going along with the Doctor on the adventures that the companions are. You're the one that is showing all the wonders of the galaxies and the universe to. You're the one who feels at threat and imperiled when a Dalek is coming to exterminate you, or a giant ant from the Web Planet is trying to nibble away at you. Yeah, I could go on all right, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I hope I have answered some of that. But to summarise, for what you want, I'd probably say start with the 2005 series. Give the 2 big screen movies a try. That's Doctor Who and the Daleks and Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. And if you want more than that, just cherry pick certain stories. Most Doctor Who's available on DVD in story, in titles. As you come across them, maybe just pick them up and give them a try that way. I don't know if there's a streaming service in the US that offers more easier access to get to Doctor Who. Over here we have BritBox, I think it's called. I don't subscribe to it because everything that I would want from BritBox I've already got on physical media. So I don't know how you would stream it in the US. I don't know if they're available per series on something like Amazon. But we will. I'm going to nip that down now and move on to talk about Thrawn in this week's Ahsoka. Has anyone else seen it? Has anyone else seen this week's episode of Ahsoka and seen the live-action premiere, the grand first appearance of Thrawn himself? Has anyone else done that yet? I'm a tough cookie to please when it comes to this particular character. I'm a huge fan of the Thrawn novels. I've got almost every edition of them that they've ever brought out, and I collect anything to do with that character. They're not behind me. Well, one of them is. You can't see him. He's up on the top there. And had someone in. I've not seen it yet since I don't use Disney Plus. Fair enough. I won't be going into spoilers. I've been waiting for the full season before I watch. That's probably not a bad idea. I've actually discussed this with a couple of friends of mine. I've not rewatched any of the episodes. Oh. I have flashing lights. I've got a disco. Stop now. I've not rewatched any of these episodes at all yet. I've watched them all the once on the day that they've come out, and I plan on sitting down to watch all. Is it 8? I think it was 8 episodes. I plan on sitting down to watch all 8 episodes once they've all come out. I'll do a recap on them then. I struggled with the first few episodes of Ahsoka. I won't, like I say, I won't go into any spoilers. But there's certain things that occur, and I'm like, what? The way certain characters are handled are not like they've previously been. They don't feel like the same character at all. So I've struggled with it. But then the last 3 episodes, I think I've gone from being, okay, that one was good, to, oh, I really, really liked that one, to, I really, really, really liked the latest. For how little Thrawn was on screen in this episode, from his entrance, his first appearance, so to say, they seem to have got him as close to right as they probably were ever going to do. He's not the same as he was in Rebels, which I thought they got him wrong in Rebels. That wasn't Thrawn in Rebels. It was somebody's version of Thrawn. It wasn't Thrawn. This is much more like Thrawn. I have a couple of niggles about a couple of things that he does, but they really are just niggles, and I'll see where they go moving forward. Thrawn certainly is one of the best Star Wars characters. He's my favourite of them all. Until now, my favourite Star Wars character was the Emperor. My favourite live-action Star Wars character was the Emperor. If Thrawn stays close to how he was in the books, then he could become my favourite. Thrawn from the books is my all-time favourite. Jumpy says he's watched the latest episode with Thrawn but doesn't know a lot about him. And the actor, spot on. Lars Nicholson is absolutely perfect for the part. He's playing him very well. But I thought that he was a good choice for the part anyway. I watched, what was the more recent thing? I saw him in Witcher season 3 recently, and when I saw him in that, I was convinced at the time, it's like, yes, he's going to be suitable. He's definitely going to be good enough to play the part of Thrawn. He just needs to lose a little bit of weight. He's got a little bit of a tubby. He's an older gentleman now. Well, not an old gentleman, but he's an older gentleman now. And he has a little bit of midriff. Bless him. And I thought if he can just lose a couple of inches there, a few pounds there, he's going to be absolutely spot on. He hasn't lost any weight. He's still got those extra pounds. And I'm not criticising the weight because I'm overweight myself. But for the character, he is a physically fit character. Maybe there's nothing to do in this galaxy far, far away. There's no gym for him to work out in. And again, that it's a tiny, tiny little niggle. But one of his iconic pose, his hands behind the back, stood straight. Well, when you do that, it automatically pushes your belly forward anyway. So his belly does stick forward quite a little bit, bless him. But yeah, so far I think they've got him as right as they're going to do. There's certain little changes they've made. He without wanting to give any spoilers, because I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Thrawn's ruthless but not evil. That's how I've always interpreted the character. He won't waste an asset if he can utilize that asset. And in this particular episode, there's an asset that he sends out, and well, if they don't make it back before we leave, then tough luck. I don't think he'd do that. Thrawn wouldn't do that because they're an asset that he can use. He would hold back for them. He'd wait for them to get back, or he'd send troops out to bring them back. He'd get them back somehow if he thinks he can use them. Oh, I hope disco lights are off again. Let's see if I can do anything about that. There we go. I think I've got a short wire in there, that's all. So yeah, but then I also reminded myself of a certain subplot in the original Thrawn trilogy of Thrawn utilising the Nogri and keeping their planet poisoned so that they couldn't grow crops properly. When it's a huge subplot, so I won't go into it, but keeping them that way, that's quite evil. So maybe my interpretation is not exactly 100% perfect either. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. The only thing I would say is there were too many rocks. And I'm not talking about the creatures. I'm talking about, we go from Thrawn, we look at the planet and it's all rocks. And we take it from another angle and it's all rocks. And then we focus in on some rocks. And then we have a little scuffle and a fight amongst some rocks. And then we go and find a little village amongst some rocks. And then it turns out that rocks can walk. And there's big rock statues, and there's big rubble carvings, and there's lots of rocks. There were lots and lots of rocks in this week's episode. So yeah, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. El Hobo also says that General Grievous is my favourite. Who are you, El Hobo? I haven't seen you. You haven't been in the live chat before, have you? You're new. Or are you an old one that's changed your name and profile? I don't know. Welcome aboard, anyway, if you are new. So, has anyone got any questions to ask? Like I said, the whole reason that prompted this particular live stream was that question I was asked this morning about that Doctor Who. So it's worth asking a question. You get me to pull my finger out and actually do a live stream if you ask questions. No. Well, I'll show off a couple of bits and bobs that I've got then. So I did say I was going to do that in the description, didn't I? Since we've been talking about Doctor Who, I'll open a parcel of what I believe is Doctor Who toys. I've had this a week now, if not over a week. I was like, I'm going to open that on my next live stream. It could have been the council next week. Well, they're well packed. I'll give them that. I'll watch the those up because that's got somebody's address on it. It's not mine. everything? Yep, that's everything. Right, okay. I don't know if that's a clue for anyone, but I am currently on a Dapple Doctor Who kick. And that's the back or inner packaging for one of the Dalek box sets that Dapple did. It was, as it said, the early Daleks. I'll get them all out of the bags first so I can show you them. I did know when I ordered these, when I bid on them, that there were a couple of damages. I did know that. What could it be? Right. Although I didn't know this one was as bad as it actually is. Right, okay. So that, as I was saying, that's the inner packaging for one of the Dalek box sets. Early Daleks, you got 4 Daleks, same colour, different appendages. And these are them. So they're all grey, with blue spots and blue slats and blue. This one's the Pyro Dalek, so it's got the flamethrower on it. This one's the Dalek with the scoop to scoop out the Dalek mutant from the tank in which they were kept to put into a new Dalek casing. And then I forget what this was called. I think it's I think that's a time locator. Is it the Dalek time locator? Is it? Dalek time locator. No, what is it? I forget what it's called. I mean, we only see it in the Chase and the Dalek Master Plan, or is it just the Dalek Master Plan? Which obviously is one of those that's sadly missing an awful lot of episodes. So yeah, it's just got like a little. It's like a little cup with a clock type dial on it. And then the other one, couldn't even tell you what it was supposed to be, but it's a broken one. He's lost an eye. And they've obviously lost the other attachment as well, and they've stuck a movie Dalek claw in there, but it also suffers some damage as well. So I knew it was damaged when I ordered it, so maybe I'll use that for a custom or something. Or maybe I'll make it look like I'll get rid of the top half of it and make it look like this scoop Dalek is putting the mutant inside it. I always do that. And in with the bundle was another Dalek that I'll use for a custom because it's lost the eye stalk. It's an Imperial Dalek, white with gold. And there was an Ice Warrior in there. It's complete as well. He's got his gun. Now I don't have a loose Ice Warrior. I think I've only got a carded one. So this will be quite cool to put in the cabinet behind me with some of my others. And then I had a gift given by one of my customers and one of my viewers. I don't know if you're watching now, Matt. If you are, thank you very much. A little canine. My lights have just gone off. They're on a timer. I'm back on. Nice. It's a little K9 figurine, and it's actually an air freshener. But it's a really cool, well detailed model of K9. What is on? There we go. The lights are on. Yeah, and it's one of those with a sticky pad on the bottom, so you can put it on your dashboard of your car. And the sticky pad's never been taken off, so that's brilliant. Thank you very much. And last but not least, another piece that I got off. I hate buying off eBay. It seems really bad. I've got a toy shop and I'm buying toys off eBay. I got a new Mighty Max piece for my Mighty Max collection. So I'm trying to build that collection up at the moment. And it's Mighty Max Terminate Wolf Ship 7. I open it up. And I'm going to take the figures out because I don't want to just drop them out. There we go. Open it up. And I've got the inside of a spaceship there. They're fantastic little play sets, these. They really are cool. So full of detail and everything. They're amazing. He's got a little jet ski type thing. A little mini ship for Max to... There we go. So that Max can escape the aliens, the evil... Do the aliens in this have a name? Do they? They probably do. I'm not reading all of that to find out. But they included the backing card as well. Unfortunately, it's got some tears on it. But I wasn't expecting to get that at all. And on the back, there's a bit of a comic. A bit of a comic strip. But yeah, and those... Ooh, those are your little aliens. They're your little monsters for him to fight against in this particular playset. I do Mighty Max. The Bluebird toys were absolutely fantastic. They were. They don't make toys like they used to do. I know we all say that, but it's true. It's a ship again. Still no more questions put in, no more contributions, so I'll probably keep this quite as a short one. I'll cut it out at an hour. What was released on... I'm not up with today's Hasbro Pulse thing. What happened today? What announcements were there? Is that it? PulseCon 23. Eject. PulseCon 23. What did they announce? Let's present. Share screen. And then you guys get to see what I see as well. So Star Wars. What was on Star Wars? Oh, it's not clickable. Oh, okay. That was Dan Larson on there. Okay. Star Wars. I thought it might actually show you. Does it not? Oh, right, okay. Huh. I'll stop sharing then. Oh. Hello, Lobot. How are you, sir? You well? What was announced? New. Does it say new? No, it's still showing older stuff. Oh, right, okay. Well, that's a bit rubbish. I thought I'd be able to nicely go through that and have a chat about them. Just Google have anything. Not really. I've seen people sharing images of them in Facebook groups, but I don't really feel comfortable going through Facebook on a live stream. Not sharing it anyway, so I'm not going to do that. Apparently it's time for me to stand up. I'll dismiss that. I'll stand up when I feel like standing up. Technology is trying to rule our lives. No. No. Oh, what's that? No. Okay, this might be it. This might be it. I might have found what to show you. Okay, I'm very well, thank you. Yes, very well, thank you. Good week? Had better. Had better. It's not been the best week. Yourself? I'm surviving it, though. I'm surviving it. I'm a bit knackered, to be honest with you. This one. Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, so it looks like these are what's been announced. That's thing. I don't know why that's there. Have they got leftover stock that they're going to be getting rid of to us? Okay, so Sabine Wren's lightsaber apparently is going to be available. One of those really super duper expensive ones, nearly £300 these are. And it's not going to be available until fall next year. Next autumn. Really? Wow. Can't see that many people wanting Sabine stuff now, while the show's at its highest popularity, let alone in a year's time. Now that looks nice, but I'd rather have it without these weld marks. I never liked these weld marks that appeared towards the end of the series. But yeah, very cool. That's nice. Balin. Is this Black Series? Yeah, Black Series. Very cool. He's so far he's been the best thing about this series of Ahsoka. I say that as a big Thrawn fan. He's been the best thing about it. She's not been. What's her name? Shin Hati. Yeah. Not been convinced with her character. Oh. Stormtrooper. Oh, Archive Collection. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. We've just had Stormtrooper though, haven't we, on the Return of the Jedi packaging? Is this a new sculpt? It can't be if it's Archive, can it? Is anybody else confused by this? We've already had X-Wing Luke. Is that Snowspeeder Luke? No, Snowspeeder Luke had grey gloves and grey boots, didn't they? We've already had X-Wing Luke on Archive Collection. Darth Vader Archive Collection. Okay. Seriously. I've still got Bo-Katan figures that I can't shift. And they're bringing it out as an archive figure. Well, I think we knew Chopper was coming anyway, didn't we? Hu Yang, cool. That don't look too great, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if they've got the colour right on that one. Krennic? Director Krennic? That's about 6 years too late, isn't it? Cool to finally have it, I suppose. Cool to finally have it. Jedi Revan. Cool. Are we getting... We're supposed to be getting Darth Revan, aren't we, at some point as well? And that's it for the Star Wars ones. Okay. 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 And Jumpy says, missed the Star Wars, didn't get home in time, but seen the Black Series, Balin and Shin. Yep. Just had a look at them. Yep. You obviously typed that before I saw them. My week was okay, actually. Fairly quiet at work, which was a nice change. It probably is. Knowing what you, well, having a rough idea of what you do, yeah, I can imagine it would be. Luke X-Wing was in the first archive wave. Yes, it was. And I think I'd rather have Bosk than Luke X-Wing back again, in all fairness. I'd rather have another version of Bosk. I think they'd be easier to sell. And I can't remember the fourth. It wasn't the Scout Trooper, was it? Was it? Series Archive Collection Wave 1. That's certainly not it. IG-88. That was very bounty hunter. Very bounty hunter heavy, wasn't it? But yeah, IG-88 was the fourth one. We got there at the same time. Although I did use Google. I used Google. What are we at? Another 5 minutes, I think, and then we'll call it a night. Oh, I've got one other thing. I've got one other thing. In fact, before I do, I'm going to share something else with you. It's going to be only me, because I don't want everyone else to see it. This is something I saw a few days ago, and it's a custom job that someone's done, and I have to make one of these somehow because I think it's absolutely brilliant. Will it let me? Come on. How do I add? Ah, there we go. Come on. Well, this isn't working to plan, is it? Right, okay. Try again. Here we are. That one, that one, that one. Open. Yeah, only I can see this stuff. I can show you. I'll delete it afterwards. Then you see, because I don't want it on my feed permanently. Right, present. This is something that popped up on my Facebook feed, and I want one of these to go in the cabinet behind me. How cool is that? So they've taken a normal grey, black, green, whatever you name it, Godzilla from mid-90s, and they've painted it bright red, giving it a yellow and white chest, little blue highlights. I think that's amazing. I just love those colours on it. I love these yellow spines on the back as well. That looks fantastic. I need this in my life, so I'm going to be I need to source one of these toys. Believe it or not, I don't have this particular Godzilla. All those Godzillas I've got at the shop, I don't have this particular one. It's probably going to cost me a fortune to get it as well. But yeah, I think that looks great, and I need to do it. I need to do it. Order you one as well. Did you manage to get everything back today? Okay, Jumpy. But bearing in mind that I haven't done customs for a lot of years. I used to do some toy customs every now and then, mostly Doctor Who ones. I've got an idea of turning this guy. Yes, Connor, Trendmaster's Godzilla stuff is awesome. Yeah, I've got an idea. Oh, bump in the microphone. I've got an idea of turning this guy also into a Godzilla. Let me get that off the screen. There we are. I just think that this is perfect to be customized into a Godzilla. And I did consider making this one in that red and yellow thing, but no, I think this needs to be green for Rex, but just with spines and whatever else. Maybe black. I might be able to get away with making him the dark grey stroke black Godzilla, but I just think that'd look so much fun. We're blasting King Kong. Maybe Potato Head could be King Kong or something. Yeah, it started to rain, but everything's okay. Oh, good. I'm glad you did. Don't get those matches soggy. Jumpy got a fantastic 40th anniversary of Godzilla set of matches today. And yeah, you don't want the gunpowder on those getting soggy, do you? Not that I expect you to sit there striking these 25, 30 years old matches. Right, guys, well, it's 9 o'clock, and I think I'm going to chip now. Unless anyone's got anything to ask or say. Speak now or forever hold your peace. I hold my peace from time to time. No? Okay. Right then, well, it's been wonderful chatting along with you. And I'll catch you again next time. Remember, we've got Cosmic Council next week. I won't be able to show these off in the Cosmic Council now, will I? Does that mean I have to go and buy something else? No, I need to be good. I spent far too much stuff at far too much money at Bolton, didn't I? I've got a lot of books to read. Yes, you have a good weekend as well, Lobo. I hope you all do. Take care, and I will catch you. Remember, Cosmic Council next week, and I'll probably have another episode out with a certain focus on Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, so, yeah, take care. Bye-bye, everyone. Just going to get straight off now. Bye!